Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing you some of the best college football news, predictions, and analysis. The Holiday Bowl is one of the more underrated bowl games. Every year it pits two high-quality Pac-12 versus Big Ten teams all the way out in San Diego. And this year it is no exception, as number 22 USC will take on number 16 Iowa for our first ranked versus ranked matchup of this 2019 postseason. And this one is already shaping up to be a great matchup because of the clash of styles, as USC brings their 5th ranked passing offense to go up against Iowa's 10th ranked passing defense. So you've got an offensive-led USC team going up against a heavily led Iowa defense. It's going to be a great one all the way out in California. And when you look at USC here, they finished the season 8-4. Not a bad mark, but not great by the standards and expectations that the Trojans hoped to achieve. That's why it was such a big surprise that they decided to retain head coach Clay Helton. He is keeping his job going into the 2020 season. Not many people thought that he would make it through this 2019 campaign, but I think that this USC administration saw the talent that he has on the table here, especially with this passing offense, and are willing to give him another chance next year to try to bring home a Pac-12 title. When you look at Iowa, they finished the season 9-3, their third 9-win season in the past 5 years. Kirk Ferentz doing a phenomenal job once again. 21st year with the Hawkeyes, and once again has them in the top 20 heading into the postseason. Once again, you can't ask for anything better if you are a Hawkeyes fan. When you look at the offensive side of the ball for USC and Iowa, it's no surprise and no shock that USC dominates here. And they own the major edge over the Hawkeyes. The Trojans are led by Kedon Slovis. 3,242 yards this season, 28 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. And keep in mind, he has battled some injuries over the course of this 2019 season. But he has thrived in Graham Harrell's air raid offense. We knew that coming in to 2019, that we expected to see a major improvement just in the offense in general, but especially in the passing game with Graham Harrell as the offensive coordinator. He just got signed to another multi-year deal to remain offensive coordinator at USC, which is a sign of great things to come. They're averaging 33.2 points per game, and Slovis had 515 passing yards in their season finale victory over UCLA. So he's putting up some monster numbers this year. The question is, can he do it against, as we mentioned, the 10th ranked passing defense in the entire country in the Hawkeyes? Iowa offensively, they've been quoted to be vanilla on offense. Not very flashy, not very high scoring, but enough to get the job done. They're led by their defense, but their offense just enough to win the games. They're averaging just 23.8 points per game. That's their worst mark, actually, since 2012, when they averaged just 19.3 points per game. So that's a bit of a cause of concern, but I'm not complaining. If my team's 9-3, I'm not really complaining much about my offense. Nate Stanley is one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, at least when it comes to experience, putting up over 2,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. So that interception number, the touchdown to interception ratio, a little bit of a cause of concern, but this USC defense, nowhere near the strength of Iowa's defense. I think he'll be just fine in this Holiday Bowl. In Iowa as a whole, they're relatively balanced, way more so than USC, who relies so heavily on the pass. Iowa averaging 230.3 passing yards per game while putting up 139.5 rushing yards per game. So that is something that the Hawkeyes have going for them that USC does not, that they are able to mix it up a little bit through the air and on the ground, while USC is just going to be trying to pound you heavily with their air raid attack. When you look at the defense, USC owning the major edge offensively, Iowa owning the major edge defensively. That's why this is such a great matchup, because you're seeing this clash in style, and someone's got to come away with the win. So either USC's offense is not going to be shut down or they are. And Iowa's defense is really going to step it up. One of two things is going to happen here. That's why this is one of my top bowl games of this 2019 postseason. The Hawkeyes are allowing just 13.2 points per game. 13.2 points per game. That's less than 2 touchdowns per game in the Big Ten West, which is one of the wildest and most wide open divisions in all of college football this season. At least that's what we thought. They're allowing 184.2 passing yards per game, which is a strong mark. Now, less than 200 passing yards per game against a USC offense that's putting up well over 300 passing yards per game with Slovis. So that's a number you need to watch out for. But more than anything, the player you need to watch out for on this Iowa defense does not come from the secondary. It comes along the defensive line. With A.J. Epinesa, arguably one of the better defensive players in the country, certainly one of the better players in the entire Big Ten, racking up 9 sacks this season and really heating up down the stretch when it matters most. 5.5 sacks over his final 4 games. So Epinesa, we knew coming into 2019 was one of the better players in the nation, one of the better players in the conference, and he is certainly showing that, especially down the stretch as he prepares for the 2020 NFL Draft. And luckily for Iowa, he will not be sitting out in this game, and I give him a lot of credit for that. Many players will be doing that over the course of this 2019 postseason. Epinesa not doing that, and I guarantee he will improve his draft stock in a game against a quality ranked USC opponent. For the Trojans, their defense much worse than Iowa's, allowing nearly over 2 touchdowns more when it comes to points per game, allowing 27.8 points per game, 415.2 yards per game total. So maybe, just maybe, Iowa can find a spark on offense as they face a weaker USC defense. This USC defense, nothing compared to the 3 losses that Iowa has been dealt this season to Michigan, Penn State, and Wisconsin. All 3 of those teams having elite defenses. Iowa not being able to put up many points in those games. Maybe they can rack up some yards and points against a more vulnerable Trojans defense. When you look at the keys to the game, I have 2. One for Iowa and one for USC. And we'll start with the Hawkeyes here. Their major key, as it should be for every team, but the major one for Iowa is they've got to take care of the football. They've been very turnover prone this season, and more turnover prone in the 3 losses they've been dealt this season. That's the major storyline and stat that I'm looking at, is when they lost to Michigan 10-3. They obviously couldn't get much offense going. Defense played great, holding the Wolverines to 10 points. That was before their kind of resurgence after that Penn State game. But the Hawkeyes had 4 turnovers in that one. Against Penn State, a game they lost 17-12 at home, they had 2 turnovers. Lost the turnover battle in that one. Penn State, strong defensive team, strong offensive team. KJ Hamler, Sean Clifford, but losing the turnover battle. It's very difficult to win games when you lose that turnover battle. And then against Wisconsin, their defense did not play that great, allowing 24 points and 250 rushing yards to Jonathan Taylor, but they only had 1 turnover, but one that certainly proved to be very costly in a 2-point loss to the Badgers. So the common trend I'm seeing is that Iowa has turned the ball over a lot, and they turned the ball over a lot in the games that mattered, the games that they lost. If they don't want to lose this game, they've got to be able to hold on to the football. If you give that USC offense chances, if you turn the ball over to USC, I guarantee you the Trojans will capitalize off of it. Even if it's just a field goal, they will capitalize off of your mistakes. Iowa has to do a very good job to avoid that. A lot of that relies on the play of Nate Stanley. For USC, their major key for me is to get the ground game going. Iowa knows that USC is going to pass. Everybody knows that. And if that's your strength, you should do it. But it would be great if USC can mix it up a little bit. A team that, yes, relies heavily on the pass, but still averages 126.3 rushing yards per game. The Iowa rushing defense allows 120 rushing yards per game, so they're fairly even there. USC, if they can rush for 120, 130 yards, I think they have a very good chance to win this game, because even though Iowa has such a strong passing defense, the passing game is not going to get shut down for Graham Harrell and Keaton Slovis. So if they can get just a little bit of a mix of rushing in there, the offense is going to be looking really good and just enough to keep this Iowa defense on their toes in this Holiday Bowl. So who are we going to pick to win the Holiday Bowl? I said it's one of my favorite bowl games. It's going to be one of the better matchups of this 2019 postseason. It's an underrated matchup, that's for sure. But in the first ranked versus ranked matchup in this 2019 bowl season, I'm picking USC to get the win. They are slight underdogs right now. And this was a very tough game for me to pick. It's one that really, to me, is a toss-up. I'm not going to lie. It really does feel like a toss-up game to me. But this game, to me, feels like it's more important for USC. Clay Helton kept his job, but the seat's going to be even... His seat's already hot. He kept his job. The seat's going to be hot in 2020. His seat will be even hotter if he loses this game and USC finishes 8-5. 9-4 looks way better than 8-5. To me, I just don't think Clay Helton can afford to lose this game. That's why I think the Trojans show up in their home state, something that might give them a little bit of an edge in this one. Maybe a slight home field advantage, not big, but maybe slight. And I think the Trojans pull off a close one. It's going to be a very close game, not going to be very high scoring. USC will be able to score some points, but Iowa keeps it within range, within one possession, in a close Holiday Bowl. One of the more underrated bowl games out there. We're going to have a thriller in this one, in our first ranked versus ranked matchup. But USC takes home the win. Both teams finish the year at 9-4. So guys, thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Make sure to like this video. Check out everything we have for you in the description below. The spread pick for the Holiday Bowl, as well as every other bowl game, can be found over at thegridironexpert.com, as well as our other college football offers and content. So do not miss out on any of that. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.